All right, so let's play around with the OMDB API and see if we can interact with it programmatically from an Angular application. Okay, so let's create a very simple proof of concept. Right? Let's create here in the lectures for the undergraduates. I'll create here a POC, proof of concept. Okay. Right. In that proof of concept, we'll build a very simple Angular application index. Okay, and we'll call it ng app. Maybe we'll call it POC app. Let's load Angular. So here we have script, and this is src, and this is, let's see, go up one. Is it vendor? No, one more. Oh, there it is, vendor. We have Angular in there. Yeah, Angular. There it is. We have Angular. Okay. We're also going to need Bootstrap, so let me load that as well. So link. So this is href up one, maybe three. Let me see. Do we have Bootstrap in there? There it is. Okay, so since this is a proof of concept, I'm not gonna spend too much effort into it, right? It'll be a very, very trivial Angular application. I'm not gonna create all sorts of controllers and views and routing. I just want to make sure that I understand the API enough, right? That if I wanted to, right, and spend more effort, I would create a full-blown application around it, right? I just want to feel comfortable with the API. So let's create here a div, and this is a container fluid maybe, right? And let's just have a single controller, right? I don't want to have here tons of controllers, one that listed, one shows the details. I just want to see that I can query this, right? So let's see controller, and this will be my POC controller. Okay. All right. Okay, so this app, we're going to create it in a app.js. So let's create that. Source, this will be my app.js. Okay, and in there, we'll create our trivial throwaway POC, right? So app.js. So here we'll have maybe a function. And in here I'll have Angular module, and I believe we called it POC app, right? And no dependencies. And we have a single controller, and it's called, I think, POC controller. And it'll implement in a function of the same name. Yes? Typically I would have a service. Right, the service would provide me data, and let's not. We'll create a service a little later. Let's see. Typically, we would do a var model of this. Now, typically, the way we would bind the controller to the view, right, is through the config.js, right, through the routing. We don't have a router here. Okay, we're not going to do any of the routing. So if I want the POC to be able to be accessed through the instance of the controller, I can use the as syntax here and say that in this view, right, the inside of the view, I can reference the instance of the controller using the following variable. Okay, right. This is the equivalent of binding the instance in the config.js. Right. So in here, I can render model.hello. Right, so if I say here model.hello, we say hello world. Okay, let's see if this blows up. And let's go in local. Let's go into lectures, into undergrad. We have POC. And there's index, and it says hello world. Right, so the view and the controller are talking to one another through the instance of the controller. So we're not using scope, right? We're not using $scope. Everybody okay? All right. All right, so let's see. What do we want to do in that view? We want to be able to do two use cases, right? One, can I search for a particular title for a movie? Yes? And the second use case is, once I have a list of movies, can I select a particular movie and get more details about that particular movie, all right? So let's play around with that. So in the index, let's create maybe an input field where we're going to bind it to title, maybe title, model.title. And this is a form element. So there's my input field, a little bit too big. And in here, I'm gonna type in the search string, right? And maybe we'll put an h1 OMDB API, OMDB POC, the OMDB proof of concept. Okay. And this maybe we'll put a placeholder saying that we're looking for Guardians of the Galaxy, giving an example of what is that we are expecting, right? The title of a movie, yes? And maybe a label, but I'm not going to get into that. Plus, we'll add a button that if you click on that button, we will search for that movie, right? So we'll create maybe a button, and we'll do an ng-click, ng-click. We'll do a model.search movie, and we pass model.title. Okay, and this will be search, and we're going to paint this a little bit. We'll say that this is a button, and button primary, and button block. All right, so if we click on search, presumably the controller will go and fetch movies for us. Yes. And underneath, hopefully if it comes back, we'll get search results down here, right? And we'll put it in model.movies. Okay, right? Which right now we don't have any of that. All right, let's keep going. Let's see if let's create the event handler for this click search movie. So let's create the event handler. We don't need this anymore. We'll do movie search. It'll be implemented in a function of the same name. And oops. And this will be the title here, right? And the title, that needs to be concatenated with a URL. We have a URL. We were playing around with it a minute ago. Where is it? It was this one, right? This is the URL. So let's grab that as a URL. And maybe do a var. Here's the URL. URL is that. This is going to be the title. I need to append it. So this will be plus title. And the key is there appended as well. Everybody okay? Now that we have the URL, we should be able to just make a query, right? Using $HTTP. Typically, you would put this in a service, right? You create a movie service, yes, that is hosting all your HTTP gets, posts, puts, deletes, yes, right? But we're lazy today. I'm just going to do it here in the controller. Okay, that's a bad practice. You don't typically do it in the controller. You have a dedicated service layer doing this. Yes. No, it's fine. Yeah, it's okay. Again, the intent is for you to feel comfortable with the API you chose, right? That yes, I'll be able to query a collection of objects that meet a particular criteria, and can then I go fetch more details about a particular object, right? So here we're going to do a get, right? Because that's exactly what we did here, right? When you type a URL in the search bar, right, and you press enter, right, the browser generates a get request. So we're going to do that programmatically here. Right? So we're going to generate a get, we'll do a URL, and this is going to return a promise right? And it's going to have the response here. And in that response, let's console log the response. And let's try it out. Let's see. So let's go to our little app. Where is it? Is it this one? I'm going to grab it, put it here. And let's look at we're going to inspect. And let's put this on the right-hand side. And let's look at the console. And if we type Batman and say search, it comes back with a response. Here's a response, and hopefully in the data, we have a search. And in that search attribute, we have 10 objects. So indeed, we went out to OMDB and it responded with 10 responses, right? Plus some meta information such as total results, whether it was successful and whatnot, right? So really what we want to bind here is this search array, right, to a local movies object, right? So let's do that. So we can say model.movies, right? That's the object we're sending over for rendering purposes, yes? That's going to be where? That's the response.data.search, right? That's what it comes, right? That's the schema, right? It's the object, data, search. That's the array, okay? So let's try it again. Let's not do the console log. And we don't need this anymore. And so here, if I put star track and do a search, indeed we get an array of objects, right? Of just with star track and the IMDb, the year, the type, poster information, okay? And we already know how to render this, right? That was the second or third assignment, right? That asked you to iterate over arrays of widgets, of pages, of websites. So rendering it would be trivial for you, right? You would you would do some kind of iterator. One that I personally like is the UL with a list group, and you can do an LI with a list group item, right? And in here you can render each movie. You can say you can repeat this ng repeat movie in models.movies and just render each object in here individually, right? And if you render that and you say Star Wars, right? Each object is not rendered. Wait, what? Oh, maybe I have to Star Wars. What is going on? UL class UL movie list group item. Why are you not styling this? Why are you not styling this? ng movie in model.movies. Avatar. There we go. All right, so now we have a list of all the movies. Yes, everybody okay? And obviously you can style it any which way you want. Perhaps you just want the title, right? Maybe you want the IMDb ID. Actually, careful with the names of the attributes. See that there's capital T, right? So this should be capital T over here. The IMDb, you have the poster too. So we can show the poster. Movie.poster. So aliens. Oh, there it is. So we got the name of the movie. We have the IMDb, and we have the Amazon poster, right? And I'm not sure. Maybe we could return the image. Let's see if I can return the image. Will this image render? Sorry. Okay, probably I need some key or some permission to actually render it. I'm sorry? Dope. Okay. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, so we got images. So presumably we can put this inside of an IMG, right? And typically we would use ng-src, right? Remember? We use src so that you don't get all those errors when it fetches them, right? Maybe even put some width of 100 pixels. So this would be maybe Terminator. So yeah, we have the images, we have the title, we have the IMDb, right? And what we'd like to be able to do is that as I click on a particular element, it would show details about that particular movie, right? So we could do that. Maybe we can style this a little bit, maybe that like that, and the title and the movie would be shown on the right-hand side. And maybe what I want to be able to do is that if I click on an LI, if I click on a particular LI, right, it would fetch the details for that particular movie. Right? So to do that, maybe we could do is maybe split the page in half, have the left-hand side do the search, and on the right-hand side do the details. We could do that, right? So that we don't have to do any navigation. We could stay all in the same page, and we'll do that in the next video.